We are happy to present these sessions, which are basically based on our experience in different fronts, professionally and also socially. I will be sharing a bit more of that as we proceed. So, Lucy, you want to say hi to the participants?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lucy Mangai. My primary role in this setting, I'm the mother in the group, and the main thing is we are dealing with your health outside what you call medical health. You don't have fever, and you don't have anywhere that is paining, but we are dealing with what we call above the head, the things that we deal with above the head. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Now, just a bit of housekeeping issues. First of all, you have said you're recording the meeting so that later we could share this recording with yourselves and those who have asked during the registration process. We also recognize that sometimes there could be a problem of the internet connection. We hope not, but if it does, we have a backup of bundles, so we'll try to put on the bundles. If the rights go off, also we have a way to make sure that we continue with some artificial rights we have here. So all in all, we hope that we'll be able to finish within the 1 hour. So we have with us on a different location, Lucy. Lucy, are you there? Can you show yourself and Joseph? Lucy?
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Lucy. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. And Joseph, where are you, Joseph? Is he there?
Yes, he's yeah.
Okay. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good.
Fine. Thanks, Joseph. Joseph and Lucy are a couple, by the way. So they must be sitting not too far from each other. They are good friends and they provide a backup just in case our location gets out of connection, then they can help to keep things going. So thank you very much, Joe and Lucy. Stay helping us on the back. Now, this is the outline of what we want to discuss this evening. So first of all, we start with a brief overview on marriage relationships today and why, from our experience, we have found it necessary to organize these sessions. And as you may know that from this invitation, one of the things that we are talking about is a marriage relationship course. So we want to say why that marriage course is necessary. Then this course leads us to what we are calling Twapata Head meets heart. This is heart. Okay, head meets heart. That I should have changed. Then an alumni platform and registration and the rates. And then we'll have a Q&A. So we have two anonymous polls. One of them, of course, getting a bit of feedback from the group presented here. And the other one is at the end, just to get your feedback on how you have found the session. If you have any comments and you want to put as we continue, feel free to post those comments on the chat. So that's what we have. So I'll ask Lucy now to take us through the first part about the state of marriage relationship today.
I'm going to take you through looking at how if you take a group of 1,000 people in a population, like let's say in Nairobi, you take a group of 1,000 people, use what is showing we have X and Y. So in the Y axis, you can see it is showing you the number of people who would be married, which is starting from 0 to 16. And then down there is showing you the different years from 1920 to 2018. And you can see in 1920, if you took a group of 1,000 adults and you check how many people will be married, you see that in 1920, there will be 12. And you can see as we went on to 1945, you can see that there was a peak of people getting married more, which I thought is after the Second World War. And that this first curve is showing UK. This is showing the UK. Yeah, it's showing United States. And then after that, you see the rate of marriage goes down in UK, in US. And then after that, we have now the South Korea. And you see it had peaked and then it has started going down. And globally looking at everything now, you can see the number of people getting married is going down every year. It's like people have stopped getting married.
Okay, so that's the first. Let's go to the second one.
The second one is we are looking at the age at which people are getting married, looking from 1986 all the way to 2017. And you can see the age of getting married now is started to go, it is going up. In all the countries, the age of getting married is going up. And we don't want to go into the nitty-gritty to say why. The only thing that you can see is that Niger and Bangladesh, they have remained stable there with their age. And you know, in these countries, not that people get married. What they mean is that these girls and the boys get betrothed early, and then they wait for the time that will be around to start living together. Then we can go to the next one.
Yeah, so thank you. So just to build up on that, so I think two concepts. First of all, people are getting married late. Okay, so that's what we see, and few people are getting married. I think those are the two dynamics of that.
And Sweden is one of those countries seem to be people are very they are getting married very late. You can tell that they are getting married almost after 35 years.
Incidentally, the same in South Africa. I saw it is not here, but there was I think it's 2019. You have a study for South Africa showing it's almost the same age, 36 at 7 years for both men, and that is 3 for ladies, that is 7 for men. Okay, go ahead.
Now look, this is if you look, this is a country called Singapore. And Singapore, you know, is one of those countries that is supported. People are supported socially, economically, and even the families are very well supported there. And even when they are talking about when it comes to health, the doctors have to deal both with families and to deal with the medical conditions. So if you look at the divorce rate, this is in America. In America, for every 100 people who get married, 50 of them will get divorced. So if they get married 150 of them, you get divorced. And then now, then you look down there, these figures, they are 41, 60, and 73. It means if you got married and you got divorced, and then you decide, this marriage is not working, then we get married again. So the divorce rate when you get married now is 41%. Yeah, if that is if it's the first marriage, and then after the end of you get the first marriage after you get divorced. If you get married the second time, it is 60% chance that the marriage will not survive, and 73% the chance that the marriage will not survive if you are getting married the third time. On your right, what you have those bar charts, they are showing us what is happening in Singapore, one of these countries where the country even has gotten, people have been, the government has built houses for the people. They are very well supported in that country. It's a country, even if you go to a hotel and leave even your purse on the table, it will never be stolen, because the way the moral standard of the people there is very good. Now look at what is happening. If you got divorced in Singapore, the proportion, this now you are going to happen to your children, the proportion of the children from now, from the family that is divorced and the family that is stable, the proportion of the people, you can see the children that will get to the university from the divorced families, it will be less than the ones who are from the intact families. And then this is the average income. The second, you can see they're still lagging behind in terms of average income, but in a percent and rank. And then with the other one, the CPS is the amount of how much they are able to save. The people from the divorced families still have a problem with saving their money or saving whatever to be able to buy something for tomorrow. And then we see the proportion who got married now after the children from the divorced family and the intact family. You can see they are still lagging behind the ones who are with the ones who came from a divorced family. You can see they are less the ones who got married. And then after they got married, now we look at these families. Now we check after these ones from the who came from an intact family and they got married. You check here and you can see the ones from intact family, the chance that the marriage is not going to survive is 13.8%. And the ones from divorced family who came from divorced family, is 21.7%, almost twice what you would expect. So that means the divorce, when it occurs, does not only affect you as a person, but it looks like it is going to affect generation, because this generation will be affected, then there will be divorced children from the divorced family again, and it's going to affect generation of generation. And the reason why we are organizing these talks is to see that with the people who are in this group and who wants to actually to have their marriage work, even if you came from a divorced family, or you came from a family where people separated, you are the one going to stop this chain, because you are going to work for your marriage so well and so hard that to make sure that this does not happen to you.
Now, the reason we invited you for this evening is just so that we can share with you then this course that you're talking about that helps people to prepare, first of all, if they are dating or they're identifying a spouse, and even if they are not, they want to identify a potential spouse, or if they have already identified someone, just so they can discuss some important issues. So some of you may know we had this session, some of them last year, and we have gone ahead and tried to look for a course that people can do online. But before we show you about the course, we wanted just to use the people who are participating here to demonstrate to an extent what are the issues that may come up in the process of people talking to each other before they get married. So we have one poll here. We are going to show it up, and it's anonymous poll, so you can feel free to put your answers. Nobody knows who put what, but we'll use that data just to try and demonstrate what you're talking about. We have titled the session things about knowledge about relationship. So let me first of all show it on the screen so that when people get it, then they can tell. So these are the questions on the anonymous poll. How able are you to determine whether a certain person can be or cannot be a good spouse to you? So let's see what people choose. You can say, I'm very able to choose, I'm able to choose, I'm less able, or I'm not able. And then the second question is based on your observation or past experiences, how much do people pretend to be better than they actually are during dating? So again, we leave it to you to tell, is it very much, not much, or not at all? Then two other questions. The third one, which one of the following two is a better predictor of a person's future behavior towards you? Because, okay, so it builds on the second one. Is it how the person treats you, or is it how the person treats other people? Okay, so which one is sort of gives you a better signal as to how the person will treat you after you get married? Then the last one is, according to you, how long should two people date before they start having sexual relationships? And we have three alternatives: as soon as possible, at least 1 year, or never. So those are the 4 questions. So we are going to share the poll. Feel free to put your answers here. So the poll is on, and I think you should be seeing it. So take a few minutes to fill. Okay, so here we are. I think we have more than 80% voted, and since we are registered, maybe we are the ones. So we are going to add the poll now. Thanks a lot for your voting. And I think that's adds the poll. Okay, so we'll share the results for you to see briefly. Lucia, can people see the results?
Yes, they can see.
Thank you. So our idea here is not to go through these results, really. I think what you can see is that in the first question, you see, well, any of the 4 options have some people. So basically people, okay, there is 1, 7, 4, 3, but you see there's a variance. The second question, the same, based on your experience, how much people, okay. Of course, yeah, everybody believes that some people pretend, some not much, a lot, depends much, and very much. Again, there's a variance of how much people pretend. Which of the following is a better predictor? Here, I think people believe it's almost a consensus here that how the person treats others is a good predictor of how they'll be treating you. And then here about the sexual relationship, again, there's a variance. Most people saying never. So I'll stop sharing now. I think the big idea there was that there's a variance. So the big question is, that if you have that variance, then if you meet someone who doesn't believe with what you're saying, then how do you address it? And even more important is whether what you hold is actually the right position to hold. Okay, this I think is a key thing that we need to discuss. So, how can you then improve your relationship outcomes? Okay, because as we have said, first of all, is you want obviously to get married past the right person, and for you to do that, you need to discuss some of these were just examples of things that people need to agree on. Okay, like how long do we wait before we do one thing or the other one? Okay, so it's a very important consideration. And I really thank, because I was looking at people registered here. Of course, we have all the different age groups, because these things is not like you gain experience. No, you have to be sort of know what it is that you need to do. And the reason why we started this, of course, is because being involved in young couples or people be preparing to get married, we realize that there are a lot of people that are deciding to get married before they discuss some of these important issues. So why then is there a need for relationship course? Okay, and there are like these four reasons. First is the changes in relationship building process. Okay, it's no longer clear what dating refers to. Okay, I mean, when you talk to people and they say they are dating, it's not very clear whether they have just started, when they're in the middle, or they're just about to get married. It's not clear, and this makes it very difficult. Because ideally, for as we know, you should have obviously a friendship period, you should have a dating period, and you should have a bit that kind of courtship. That's after someone has proposed. These are very distinct stages, and there's need to know where we are, because there's some things that you can discuss during friendship, during dating, and during courtship. At the moment, these things are all blurred, and therefore people don't discuss things because somebody pretends or assumes they're in a different stage. Then the second reason is because of society expectations on dating persons. Okay, I think you have seen, for example, the issue about sexual relationship. Say there is an expectation by some parts of the society when these things should happen. There are expectations by some people and not the others. So there is a misunderstanding on why things should wait, others should happen at what time. And because there's no clear cut or clear acceptance, so if you have a relationship, let's say you are trying to befriend a man or a lady, and the expectations are different from yours, okay, because the society sort of expects it, then you're going to have a conflict, or you may not actually have a successful relationship. And that also goes to, so that is a society, no? Society, for example, expects that if you have a friendship and you start seeing a lady or a man, then you should not be seeing with someone else. But maybe you're just starting. You have not actually found that you're going to be that person. But society will sort of say, this person is always moving with different people. But you may be in the friendship stage. You haven't yet gone to the dating stage. Now, individual is what I was saying. If you are dating an individual who expects some things to happen before a certain time, and your expectations are different, then again, you have a mismatch. And even the last one, which is to us very critical, is the lack of opportunities to meet potential dates with similar expectations. So where do you meet people that you know that they already know kind of this system of dating? Okay. When you meet someone, you don't know where they're coming from, what their expectations are. If they're coming from a different social background, what are the expectations? So opportunity to meet people that you sort of have an idea that this person knows that this is what the dating process involves. It is not there because we don't run this in school. Before, when you are, let's say, living in some countryside or the society was a bit more or less, we didn't have a lot of social media influence. There was a bit of rules around this process, but now everything is sort of at an individual level, and that creates a lot of misunderstanding. So that is why, based on that experience and talking to some of you even here, we identified that this course, which you're calling Twapata Head Meets Heart course, okay? This is a course which we identified a company in the US called My Love Things, and they have been running this course for over 10 years, okay? So it's an online course which has 5 sessions, self-paced. Each session takes about 2 to 2.5 years, okay? And in a short while, I'm going to show you how the course looks like so that you can get a sense of how these sessions are organized. But briefly, there are videos, exercises, short notes, and further references if you want to read more. What we are doing ourselves is to add onto this what MyRaf thinks is doing by adding the part 2. Part 2 is where we try to organize online meetings after the first 2 sessions, and then a face-to-face meeting after someone has gone through the 5 sessions. You ask why the meetings. Actually, they're addressing the 4 items I just talked about, because this opens the door for people to meet other people, also to clarify if there is anything that they do not understand in the online sessions, but much more importantly, to have a group of friends that understands about the dating process and try to sort of have a kind of a common standard of what this process is all about. We also have optionally for those who may want after finishing part 1 and part 2 to join an alumni association. And we want to give free subscription for this, and after 6 months after graduation. Why 6 months? Because again, we don't want to have people staying for a long time, but that's something we can discuss. Let me show you briefly about that online course, and then we can discuss a bit. We took quite a bit of time to be able to get to the owners of this course, talk to them, and as we have said in writing there, to agree on how they can give us a good session, a good discount, because the rate's a bit too much for most of us. Okay, so let me show you now. I'm going to show you online the account for this course. This is the one. Yeah. Lucy, can people see what I'm talking about? My heart, head means heart.
Yes, we can see the head meets heart. The workbook session 1. Yes,
So
we can see.
thank you. So as you have said, the course has 5 sessions. So you can see session 1 here is an overview of this thing we don't call dating. And session 2, I'll go to family, background. Session 3 about compatibility and other relationship skills. Session 4 on trust. And session 5 on commitment and physical touch. Now, if you go through session 1, as I was saying, it has a workbook. This is the first thing you can see here. So this workbook is that as you listen to the videos which follow, you can actually sort of fill some notes here, take some notes. And at some point, then they ask you, for example, examine your rough life. So think about your relationship in the past, present. What are some of the qualities that the partners you choose have in common? Can you identify any difficult partners, qualities that you tend to see over and over again in your relationship? So it helps you sort of reflect on your own relationships. And that that takes you the whole 5 sessions. There's always a workbook. But then in each of them, for example, this one, you have a video. And in this video, then you see, you listen to these 2 people. It is John and the daughter. It's the son. And then, of course, they take you through the session. So this is the very first one. They talk about what are difficult partners, okay? So we'll play just for 2 minutes, and then we stop it, just so you get a sense. I hope it does. Okay. Oh, it's slow. It's getting a bit slow.
Welcome to session 1, which is called How.
Oh, come on. Let's see whether to pray.
How to do this thing we don't call dating.
Sorry, the network is a bit slow, so we'll see whether we can
We're going
help.
to start this session by really just
Oh, come on.
giving you some context, kind of giving you a lay of the land.
Okay.
And we're going to start by going over how dating is different, because I think we would all agree that it's just not the same anymore. It's not even really called dating. So we're going to go over of what things have changed that have affected relationships today and how they're formed and how it's different.
And really give you an understanding of.
Okay, fine. So you get the sense of the course. I'm trying to see whether I can put my buttons to help you.
Maybe how the head and the heart.
Yeah, I think you're using a lot of bundles here. That's the issue.
Fit into all of that. And so we're going to introduce a model that will be taught all through this course called the Relationship Attachment Model. It's a theoretical model that I developed back in the 80s to try to capture the major constructs of what really are part of a relationship. And so you're going to get to understand that, see how.
Okay, you have to stop it.
Practical it is, and hopefully see how easy it is to use to keep your head and heart working together. Mm-hmm. But really where we're going to start is
okay, so I think
whole area that there are difficult people that
it's just a sad reality.
Okay, I think we got a sense. It's not the best, but we got a sense of it. I don't want to take a lot of your time. I think you get to see how these people have done the course. So it's a father and a daughter, John. We talked to John, as I mentioned, very, very enthusiastic about this course, having done it for all those many years. And so I was taking you through this, so you can see that, so they have several videos. So you can see this video is 13 minutes. The other video is 21 minutes. Then you have the RAM with the relationship adjustment. So there are 3 videos here, for example, 13, 21, and 30 minutes. So almost on average 20 minutes. Then after that, you have some visuals that if you want to look at more details, you can see it's based on research. So they try to show you what they are talking about has come from, in case you want to dig more details about what is not detailed. Really, it's just 1 page or 2 pages in each case. But then you can read about it, and if you want to group, they give you the references. And the same thing about, this is a very important concept. I will be talking about it for this particular session 1, which they call the 90 days probation period. I think it's also important. I will talk about it in a short while. But that's how the thing is structured. So you have a session, 5 of them, each of them has videos and a workbook that you can keep filling. As you go through a video, there are questions for it. As you go through a video, questions for it. Questions in general, but also to have your self-reflection. Okay, and that's what happened for all the 5 modules. Let me stop this now. We can obviously go back to it if you so wish, but let's go back to the presentation. So back to the presentation, I have talked about then the course. So this is what I was just talking about. So it is by a father and a daughter, and the overview is about this thing we don't call dating, and they go into details about what has changed about the dating process. They introduce what is called the relationship adjustment model, LAM, and what do you need to know about the other person, which is the core faces. Okay, it's a very way they play with the word face here. Okay, and that's what is covered in family background, which is the second session, compatibility and other relationship skills, trust and reliance, commitment, and physical touch. So those are the 5 sessions, and each of them has that one: the workbook, videos, some reading material, and references in case somebody wants to read a bit more. So very well thought through, and as you'll see at the end of it, also they have a text that John wrote a couple of years ago, and also recommended to read if somebody wishes. This is a RAM model, and I thought that even if we're introducing it, it's very, very important to just touch on it. And it basically says that when you meet someone the first time, you obviously try to put a lot of effort to know the person. Okay, you cannot trust somebody you do not know. Okay, and you can't rely on somebody you do not trust. Progressively like that. So the more you know someone, the more you're likely to trust the person, the more you rely on the person. So you always start from the left to the right. Okay, this is how it goes. And then of course there's a stage about commitment and then touch. Okay. So you can imagine that you meet the person the first day and they're always touching you. Okay, so it's like something must be wrong. So it's only after you have known the persons to an extent, you trust them to an extent, you rely them, you think they can be committed, you allow them to touch you. But for them, for all these things to go to the highest level, then you always, over time, you're increasing the knowledge, the trust, the relationship, how much you rely, commitment, and the touch. And you can see the touch being the very last one means that for this to go to the very top, eh, that is to touch, then the person must be committed. So it doesn't mean that somebody can't touch you before they are fully committed. Of course, they can greet you. Maybe they can hug you, those kind of things. But there's some things, and if you read the book, actually, it talks about sexual touch, which is to do with sexual relationship, that these cannot come before the person has shown full commitment, okay? That's an ideal situation because it's like the person goes to the very top of the touch because that has like the maximum level of touch before they are fully committed, then the model doesn't work. And so ideal situation is that you must know the person, you trust the person, you can rely on the person, you can commit and the person can commit you before your touch level goes to the highest. And that's kind of the model that they try to take you through in the course. And of course, as you go through, then you have that phases. Idea is that when somebody has gone through that course, then if they meet someone else, they know that process. And that's why we thought that it's important that we create an alumni platform where people that have gone through the course can have a way to interact, okay? So we are working on this website, it's at the development, and it's to facilitate interaction between the alumni to become friends, not necessarily to become married, okay? Not necessarily, just to become friends. And because this has been identified as one of the big challenges of people at this age. Okay, this is the age that people are trying to look for a potential spouse. How do you first of all have a group of friends? Group of friends that, for example, understand that relationship attachment model that you have discussed. So they can tell you now, how come that person is touching you to this extent and you just met the person the other day, okay? And this is so this is what we mean by this alumni platform. Now, this is going to be online, and of course, it's for those who want. The fact that you go through the course doesn't mean you have to join the alumni. No. You can learn the skills, apply them somewhere else you want. You don't have to join the platform. But if you don't join the platform, then of course you can see who else is in the platform. Somebody who has not gone through the course, which means it's a non-alumni, they can only see the summary statistics, like how many people are registered, what percentage are men, which percentage are women, those kind of things, where they come from, but they can actually see the contacts of the people or the details. Alumni members will be able to view the details of other alumni except their contact details, okay? Because again, we want to respect people's confidentiality. So if an alumni member want to contact another one, the platform will allow you to send an electronic message. And then that other alumni, they may decide to ignore or to respond to the message, including, and there's a spelling mistake I noticed now there, including sharing their contact information, okay? So in that way, people can become friends. You can see, they can send messages and you have a freedom to say, do I respond to this message or I say, I'm not interested, okay? Of course, this means that alumni can self-organize into groups, events based on this, for example, their hobbies, whatever they want, okay? And to me, this is very key because it's really lucky. When we talk to people that we meet, the question is, and even some of you here asking, where do you meet these people? So this is the idea. When people go through the course, then they can sort of have these events because when they go for an event, let's say having a coffee, of course, you know there are models, so you can apply it, okay? And tomorrow I can meet someone else. I'm applying the RAM model, okay? I'm protecting myself because I know that you have not gone to the touch, the extreme of the touch. So it means that the person is not committed, has not shown the signs of ultimate commitment. Then we can still meet other people, okay? So every alumni should know and be expected to observe the RAM model, okay? So, and of course, And once we start to receive, there will be mechanisms to get feedback for people that may obviously try to go outside this norm. Okay, but that's the whole point. To have friends that you can go out for coffee, you can go out for hiking, you can go out for tea without being tied to the fact that if people saw you today, they can't see you someone else tomorrow. Before I go to this registration, I didn't want to forget about the 90 days. I mentioned it, okay? Because, and maybe it comes in a later side, but let me mention it here. Because one of the things that comes in the first session we just saw is that according to the research that have been done over several places, and you can read it if you know for the course, it takes about 90 days, 90 days, to be able to sort of build the knowledge to trust someone. Okay, so knowledge and trust, remember these are the two first elements. So to have sufficient knowledge to be able to trust someone, you need more or less 30 months, 3 months. Anything before that, you are rushing. And the reason they say is that, as one of the questions he asked, you're only able to predict the behavior of someone by observing how they react in different circumstances. And for that, you need time. Okay, you need time. So you need time, you need talking. Okay, they talk about the 3 T's. Okay, you need time, you need to talk, and you need to be together. Okay, and so more or less they talk about the 90 days probation period. Before the 90 days probation period, they completely advise against committing to someone. It's too early, too soon. Okay, but I leave you to read about the course. But there are those kind of insights that make us think that this course is very good. So for those who may be interested, we have our website. We'll share these slides also. And of course, you can go to the link, Mediatrix Health. We'll put it on the chat also. So if you go through, we have tried to give a lot of information about the course. And the very bottom of it, you have a registration link, which is through Zoom. That's what's through you're using. We have tried to divide the class, the course into 2 streams. And this again based on the advice of people here. So we have a good number of people who are between 25 to 29, and we have people that years and over. In fact, looking at the registration, this is very good, because even in today's session, we have about 50% of people that are 25 to 29, and 50% of the people are about that years and over. So it looks like a good split. Okay. Now, if you look at the website, that course I was just showing you now, if you go to the My Love Things, they are charging it USD 1,197. In current exchange rate is Kenya shillings 1,500. We discussed quite with John, the people that gentleman there, and he agreed to give us a discount rate, which translates to about 14,500. And that's what we're asking people to pay, in addition to having the meetings and having the alumni sessions that we have talked about. Okay, for those who wish to join. Okay, so and then of course, one of the things they told us is that for us to get that rate, we must get at least 20 participants. And of course, we'll observe the COVID restrictions when we do come to the meeting. So if it is possible to meet face to face, we hope so. And that's why also we want 20 participants, so that once a group of 20 has finished, we can have a face-to-face session with them. We put them in the alumni platform if they so wish, and continue from there. So I think it's a place to stop and take questions and engage in some discussion for those who wish. And at this point, I'll first of all stop the recording so that people are free to share their thoughts without any signs that they are going to be recorded. So I'm going to pause the recording for now. Okay, so we want first of all to evaluate the webinar. So actually, I don't have to record this one, to give us an overview of what the webinar is all about. So I'll be putting up that slide. But let's conclude first. So if you go through these sessions, one of the things you learn in this course is that dating is not just for marriage purposes. Dating is an opportunity also to learn, to grow, and experience and serve other people. If you go it through the right way, and that's where I'm very happy that there are people here, who could start on a very good front. And those, I mean, everybody here, hopefully, if they are going, the dating period is a period for preparation for, it's a laboratory. Okay, so meeting people who are not your potential marriage partner is good for experience. This is one thing that I have learned in the book. You can see the book down there. I say by Crowd Henry called how to get a date worth keeping. Okay, so he's a very strong advocate of that. When you meet people, don't rule them out because they don't fit your specs. You actually need to go to meet those people, because when you meet those people, you do not have to pretend. We saw in one of the answers you gave us that people pretend a lot. When you meet people that are nowhere close to meeting your specs, you actually are able to practice how to talk to other people. So meeting good people that are not your potential marriage partners is good for experience. It's not a waste of time. Okay. So and you can't do this if you haven't gone through the course, because obviously when you meet someone who doesn't meet you, dismiss them. But you have to see that meeting people who are your friends actually helps you a lot. Okay. The other thing is that dating requires you being proactive in creating opportunity to meet persons of the opposite gender, become friends, and hopefully date some of them, and finally one of them will be your spouse. If you do read this book, this gentleman actually he addressing the ladies. He's saying that for some reason, and this is society, by the way, I talked about society expectations. Society somehow puts a lot of limits on what ladies can do in terms of, let's say, smiling, being outgoing. So they don't expect ladies to be proactive. And what is pushing across is that ladies should be proactive in trying to create opportunities to meet people who are potential dates. But if you just sit in a corner and when a gentleman tries to approach you, you push them aside, they try to talk to you, you sort of give them a wrong face, you're not helping yourself, okay? So you need to be proactive. Not that you have to chase people, but when somebody wants to talk to you, engage them in a conversation, okay? It doesn't mean that when you engage, that person is going to be a spouse. So it's sort of like, and actually goes to an extent of saying, if you're having challenges in this dating, have a coach, have somebody you can report to. Who did you talk to this week? What happened? What was the experience? That way, as a lady especially, or even as a man, you can progress in your dating life, okay? And then finally is a friendship stage. Is an opportunity to learn about the head. This is what the course is about. What you need to think about, and the heart, how to progressively get attracted, okay? I can see the quote of pacing it for at least 90 days comes here now, okay? So the idea is that it's very important to have a group of friends who know about what dating is all about, as we are talking about. That you need to use your head and you need to use your heart. You can't let your heart dictate your head. No. Okay? And you can see the idea about having these 90 days. So if you meet someone and you commit too early before 90 days or so are over, if you have good friends who tell you you're moving too fast, you need to take your time, because the friends understand about the dating process. Okay, so I think these are the key learning lessons that we wanted to share with you. These are the reference books I talked about. The first one is the one written by John and who have done the videos. The second one is about this one gentleman, Dr. Henry Crowd, who is talking about being proactive. And the last one about how to pick a spouse. It's about how do you then, it's tied to the first one. What are the questions you ask over time as during the dating period to make sure that you don't make a mistake? Good reference books. I can say that because I've read all of them, so I know what we're talking about, okay? And these are content. If you have any questions or follow-up, then feel free to reach out to us. We have put that telephone number there. I wish people can note it down. This is the telephone number we want to be using to set regular update. So if you can add it to your phone, then this is easy, because when you set your phone, then you know where it is coming from. These days, people receive so many messages. So if you leave a message from a number you don't know, then you are most likely going to know it. But this is a number we'll be using. So add our mobile number to your phone so that you can receive regular updates.